Commander Zethkar of the Hegemony's Third Fleet watched the deployment pod streak through New Terra's atmosphere like falling stars. Each pod contained a Vractal, a bioengineered nightmare that had crushed 17 worlds before this one. Standing 12 feet tall with razor-sharp claws, acidic saliva, and a hide that could deflect plasma bolts, the war beasts were the Hegemony's final solution to stubborn colonies. The humans will surrender within 48 hours, Admiral Corex had assured him. No species has lasted longer. Zethkar's mandibles clicked nervously as he observed the first reports trickling in. The pods had landed in major population centers across 3 continents. Atmospheric readings confirmed the Vractal had emerged and were beginning their rampage. Everything was proceeding according to protocol. Then the first anomaly appeared. "Sir." Communications Officer Velterra's voice carried an edge of confusion. "We're receiving unusual transmissions from the surface." "Define unusual," Zethkar replied, his 4 eyes fixed on the tactical display. "The humans aren't screaming for mercy. They're coordinating." On the main screen, intercepted human communications flooded in. Instead of panic-stricken pleas for evacuation, the airwaves buzzed with tactical assessments, supply chain logistics, and what appeared to be excitement. "Did they just say, 'Christmas came early'?" Velterra asked, her translator struggling with the human idiom. In the city of New Brisbane, veterinarian Dr. Sarah Chun crouched behind an overturned hovercar, her scanner analyzing the 12-foot monstrosity tearing through downtown. The Vractal's biosignature filled her tablet screen with fascinating data. "Incredible," she whispered into her comm. "Marcus, are you getting this? The muscle fiber density suggests a primarily anaerobic metabolism. And look at these calcium deposits in the skeletal structure. This thing's bones are practically ceramic composites." "Sarah, now's not the time for your animal documentary fascination," Dr. Marcus Webb replied from his position 3 blocks away. "We need to focus on containment." "That's exactly what I'm doing. Look, the saliva samples I managed to collect show a pH of 1.2. It's essentially mobile sulfuric acid, but that means its stomach lining must have incredible regenerative properties. If we can synthesize that..." The Vractal's roar cut through their conversation as it demolished a transit station. But instead of running, Sarah continued taking readings. "The vocalization patterns suggest a sophisticated communication system. These aren't just mindless beasts, they're intelligent. That means they can be studied, understood, and what?" Sarah's grin was audible through the comm. "Domesticated." Across the planet, similar conversations were taking place. On New Terra, humanity had evolved beyond Earth's original limitations. Genetic engineering, cybernetic enhancement, and 3 centuries of facing hostile alien wildlife had produced a species that didn't see a terrifying war beast. They saw an opportunity. In the research district of New Geneva, Dr. Yuki Tanaka was already preparing surgical suites. "If we can isolate the genes responsible for their regenerative abilities, we could revolutionize human medical treatment. Think about it. Soldiers who heal from plasma burns in minutes, colonists who can regrow lost limbs." Professor Ahmed Hassan, the colony's leading xenobiologist, was practically vibrating with enthusiasm. "The neural structure is fascinating. They've managed to pack the intelligence of a dolphin into a frame built for destruction. The applications for mining operations alone." Meanwhile, in the agricultural zones, farmers weren't fleeing, they were calculating. The Vractal's waste products, according to preliminary analysis, were incredibly rich in rare earth minerals. One creature could fertilize 1,000 acres with soil enhancement that would last decades. But it was in the military districts where things became truly interesting. Colonel Jake Morrison watched through his binoculars as a Vractal demolished an entire city block. His augmented soldiers stood ready, but he'd given orders to observe first. "Analysis?" he asked his AI tactical advisor. "The creature shows clear pack hunting instincts despite being deployed solo. It's attempting to establish territorial markers and communication with non-existent pack members. Psychological profile suggests deep social needs and potential for bonding." Morrison nodded. 3 centuries of humanity's expansion had taught them that everything, from the acid-spitting Centauri slugs to the phase-shifting vegan nightmares, could be understood, befriended, or at least domesticated given enough time and patience. "Prep the animal handlers," he commanded, "and get me a dozen xenopsychologists. We're gonna make some new friends." Above the planet, Commander Zethkar watched his tactical display with growing alarm. The expected casualty reports weren't coming. Instead, he was receiving increasingly bizarre intelligence updates. "Sir," Velterra's voice had risen an octave. "The humans they've built enclosures. Enclosures. Massive containment facilities. They're not fighting the Vractal anymore. They're capturing them. Alive." The main screen shifted to surveillance footage from New Brisbane. Dr. Sarachan stood just outside a reinforced transparent barrier, holding what appeared to be a large piece of meat. On the other side, a Vractal approached cautiously, its acidic drool leaving smoking marks on the ground. "Easy, big guy," she was saying, her voice remarkably calm. "Nobody's going to hurt you. You're just scared and confused, aren't you?" The war beast, the unstoppable engine of destruction that had laid waste to star systems, tilted its massive head and made a sound that almost resembled a whimper. "Sir," Velterra's voice was barely a whisper, "the humans have started naming them." Zethkar's 4 eyes focused on the intelligence report. The Vractal in New Geneva was apparently called Sunshine. The one in New Brisbane was Duchess. And in New Cairo, the local children had somehow convinced their parents to name their war beast Mr. Snuggles. Within 72 hours, not a single Vractal remained hostile. The humans had studied their behavioral patterns, identified their social needs, and systematically converted each war beast into what they termed large alien pets. Worse, they were already developing breeding programs. "Commander," Admiral Korex's voice crackled through subspace communication. "Status report." Zethkar looked at his tactical display, where the human settlements were now marked with green indicators of prosperity rather than red indicators of destruction. "Admiral, the humans have adopted them." "Adopted what?" "The Vractal, sir. All of them. They're currently being used for mining operations, agricultural enhancement, and—" Zethkar paused, hardly believing the words himself, "entertainment at children's birthday parties." The silence stretched across space for several moments. "Admiral, helm, set course for the outer rim. We're never speaking of this planet again." As the hegemony fleet jumped to hyperspace, Dr. Sarachan scratched behind Duchess's ear-like appendages, watching the massive creature purr. Actually purr with contentment. Humanity had once again proven that their greatest weapon wasn't technology or firepower. It was their inexplicable ability to make friends with anything.